Now, in order to safely fire, there's an exercise. And exercises are nothing new. Indeed, the French army have been pioneers in this. In the early 1750s, a series of ordinances by the king come out updating how they load, bringing it down into a series of perfectly designed movements to do this with maximum efficiency. Now, within this exercise, the first command, as we bring it off the shoulder, will be to, le fusil. Weapon comes up in front of the body like this. The men count, en deux, between these movements to mark a second's worth of time. From here, they will prenez la cartouche, stepping back, reaching into their giberne, drawing out a cartridge, but keeping it by the flap of the cartridge, giberne. So they're now ready to déchirer-la avec dents. Biting with their teeth, counting 1, 2, and then bringing the cartridge down towards the bassinet, or pan. So they're now ready to amorcer. Immediately after pouring a small priming charge into the pan, they go ahead and they put 3 fingers in front of the battery. So now they're ready to fermer le bassinet, shut the pan. And now, to actually load the weapon, they're going to bring it to their left side or their sword side on the command to passer le fusil de côte de l'épée.
En deux, en deux, en deux.
And now they're ready to mettez les cartouches dans le canon. Pouring the cartridge and the paper down into the barrel. Folks, can I have you shift over? Just don't want to shoot at it. All right. Immediately after that, they reach for the end of the baguette, the ramrod. So now they're ready to tirer la baguette, drawing it all the way out of the gun. And then quite cleverly, they shorten it against their belts. So now they're reaching for the opposite end of it. Now they're ready to bourrer, throwing that iron ramrod, the brisk force to pack everything, bullets, paper, and powder at the breech. They shorten the ramrod against their belt once more. Now they're going to put it back upon the command to remettez la baguette en son loop. It goes right back into the loop underneath the barrel. With this done, ready to bring it back up to the shoulder upon the command to portez la fusil en deux, en deux. Then go ahead and fire. There's another sequence of orders. Now, in order to make sure that, in this case 2, but usually at least 3 ranks of soldiers could do it together safely, each rank would step in a slightly different fashion. Those of the front rank, when they would get ready to fire, they would kneel. Those soldiers of the second rank, they would step over to make a small gap so those soldiers in the rear rank can kick their right legs behind them. Those soldiers of the rear rank, well, they're going to step back so they're securely poised to shoot over the shoulders of the second rank. Now they do this together, upon the first command being to, le fusil en deux. Weapon comes back up in front of the body. From here they would apprêter le fusil. Everyone making their appropriate steps. They bring the weapons to full cock. And they would all take aim upon the command to en jeu, which literally means to the cheek, as you would lay your right cheek against the butt of the gun to sight in on it. They wait quietly and patiently for the order to, at which point they shoot, and the weapon comes right back down to this position right here, so they're ready to reload. Now the first command would be to mettez le chien en son repos, bring the weapon back to full cock. But for these French soldiers of the first and second class, with enough practice, they would be able to do this not off of the individual commands. Instead, they could do it all together on the command to recharger le fusil, or literally reload your gun. Now I gotta ask you, all of us shooting together, wonderful. a lot of bullets going down range. What's the disadvantage of that?
Not aiming.
What are we waiting for? Reloading, right. Now, this is nothing new. In fact, the French Army has many different ways of executing firing. They could fire by file. Each one of these pairs of soldiers firing in time, or perhaps working together in that manner. They could, if you have an entire battalion, fire by half ranks, or by peloton, or by section. However, us merely having a small guard, we could use the smallest tactical division within the French Army, the escouade, with half of our small guard firing at once. Now we could begin this with our junior officers and our sergeant taking over upon the command to préparer pas faire feu à escouade.
Premier squad. On joue.
First squad, making ready with their
fusil.
weapons,
Apportez la fusil.
taking aim,
On joue. Feu.
and they
Déchargez la
immediately
fusil.
begin to reload. Now, in order to make sure it times out perfectly, Lieutenant, who's commanding his second squad, he is going to wait until that gun's just about to be loaded in the first squad, and then he begins the same.
Deuxième escouade. On le fusil. En deux. Apprêtez le fusil.
Just about the time the first squad has reloaded,
En jeu.
they're taking aim once more.
Feu.
Go through thousands of these a year, so when I get a chance, he just makes them up. So he just roll it down really tight. Take that little bit right there and push that down into that dimple. And then push it down again and push it down again and push it down again. And then push with your thumb at the same time you're pulling this out. Now, if we were doing it with a ball, well, then we'll have a string set up, and I'd tie it off there, and tie it off there, and set it down. Then if we're doing French, well, then somebody can put paste. English, not French.
Oh, okay.
And the ball size is right there.
69 caliber?
This one? Yeah, this one is a 69 caliber. Now, other stuff I'm doing here, well, back up the boat. If we're going to be firing a cannon, a 4-pound gun means, you say you're firing a 4-pounder, you're firing a 4-pound cannon. Range, 1.5 miles maximum. Enemies getting closer, I'm talking we're French now, not English. French, we're going to use mitraille. So we put our gunpowder in, then we put a wad in, then we load this in, then we put a wad in, and we fire this off. Now, inside this can of mitraille is any kind of scrap metal you got handy. Okay? Good for about, 500 yards or less. Now, that's going to take time. Measuring the powder, putting this in, putting this in, putting another wad in, will take time. So you make up our goose de mitraille, which is just like that paper cartridge for a musket. You're making a paper cartridge for a cannon. You've already got your 2 pounds of gunpowder measured out, because you're using a 4-pound ball, so at this time the French are using half the weight of your ball in gunpowder. So for a 4-pound ball, using 2 pounds of gunpowder, but instead of a ball, and we're using mitraille, and instead of being in a can, we just put it inside the bag up here. Works the same way as this, but not as slow to load and fire.
You're gonna take this whole thing and put it right in the can.
Yeah, you just go ahead and swab the gun out first. Well, first you're going to use a worm like that piece down there. And goes down in and run it down in to make sure there's no paper or anything down there for the last charge. Because if you put this in and there's burning ember in there, who's ever loading this is going to have a bad day.
Yeah, bad day.
So you worm your worm down in, and then you use a sponge, a sheepskin covered sponge that's dipped in water, damp, not soaking wet. That's going to extinguish any embers. And then the guy that's doing this slides this down the tube, and then another man with a rammer is going to ram it all home, and then you're going to find it down the end of it, aim it, and off she goes.
Coats, hunting coats, bullet pockets along the breast. All right, follow me up this way. Now, their base of operations. And it's there where Roger Canada to fight in this war, choosing fighters that experienced the war of Austrian succession, using local troops.
Deuxième la squadre. En avant, marche. Vite, vite, vite. Envoie.
Of course, Rogers is going to get pushed back. Down, across sides, down a 3-mile chassis here, making his last stand before escaping. Rogers is successful. His orders were to gather intelligence, gather prisoners. That's exactly what he did. And this intelligence, this little known battle on snowshoes that happened in 1759, often the 1758 battle on snowshoes, the second one, gets all the credit. But it is this battle, this intelligence that Rogers gathers here, March 7th, that allows General Jeffrey Amherst to plan his attack going into the spring and summer of 1759. That captain, that engineer that was with Rogers, Captain Brain, the guy who went with Rogers on top of Sugarloaf, went with a party to the lines and reported back that the lines were all redone. There were new logs. Now he also creates a map, often some sketches that he takes, and it's that map that allows Amherst to plan how to take this place. Planning that would later come the end of July in 1759 as Amherst finally gathers enough men to invade Canada.